Okay, what's going on? I thought I'd go with a live gameplay example for you. Just to show you, for example, how I like to take my play inside the game and how I like to split up when I'm tryharding. So you wouldn't really see me playing like this maybe against like a casually if I'm streaming or whatever like that. But the most important thing, I'm going to try to do this while I'm speaking at the same time, which is, by the way, enormously difficult. So if I do make a mistake, this is much harder than you think to actually think about what you're going to say and play. I don't think anyone else... So I mean, like this, for example, like there. You see that? It's very hard to explain what you're going to do and then actually do it inside the game. So when a game normally starts I would normally use a defensive formation or a balanced formation is what I would say. So I'm starting from my tactical layout. And you can see, look here, I'm not being committed to the press. You see that? I'm not, if my opponent presses me, as you can see, I got a striker playing out of position. So I need to sub that player off. I was being careful, so I've actually got a striker playing a left back. I got to sub that off, so I'm not going to make attack on the left hand side just yet. I'm just going to wait and kind of judge what my opponent's. See, I'm looking at the white cursor. I'm just seeing, is my opponent pressing me? Is my opponent committing with their left back? You can see that they're using their CDMs. See, I'm analysing my opponent. Obviously, I don't think about this when I'm inside the game, but my brain sees this. I'm thinking, are they running out? See how my opponents look? See? Not committing forward. Now the benefit of that is that means if I quickly move this ball into the spaces, that was a terrible pass. I did not want the ball to go. But if I move the ball in between the spaces, it's going to be easier to get in behind my opponent, because what it is, my opponent is not really committing a play going forward. I'm just going to defend this. Run and jockey. Bit of teammate contain here. Teammate contain a circle for me. That is the only difference in control, so the rest is the same. So you see my opponent here. See my opponent's not committing forward. Now this means that I got some time to dribble with the ball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to play in between the lines and go for quick passes, because that's the way I think I'm going to break my opponent out, is going in between, because my opponent is playing passive, not overly aggressive. It's giving me time on the ball, and it's going to give me time to make a pass or find a pass as well. So I'm going to try to show you what I mean by that as well. When I get that situation, I'm going to apply a bit of teammate contain to win the ball back there. Now you can see here, Nesta committed forward. So Nesta's out of position. So we're going to try to exploit that as long as we can. Waiting for Neymar to make that run. And unfortunately didn't really transpire in that event. But I was trying to, as you can, I hope that's not a red card. So that's not the slide attack animation that I wanted. But I was trying to trigger Neymar forward, so I can then pass the ball to Neymar and exploit the space. So do you see how my brain is analyzing what's going on? You can see, I see they're playing fairly a wide formation. I saw they've committed a lot of players on the attack. Both the fullbacks get committed as well. And my opponent is playing very passive. So the most important thing is not to get frustrated, because frustration is going to kill you. But when I get the chance and there's players available, then I'll try to play for us offside. I actually tried to do a super cancel and leave that for Smith, who was running it behind. So you see, I can see this, my opponent's only got one strike as well. So my opponent's really relying on the wingers. You see, for example, like here, they double up in wingers. So I got to be very, very careful. And you can see what I've done here is I completely forgot that I'm playing a striker. But what you can see is I'm not going to pause the game now. Because if I pause the game now, my opponent's going to know something's up. But why have I paused the game? So I'm not going to panic. I'm just going to pause the game when the ball goes out of play. And you can see that's the play I'm talking about there. That is my, she's actually a striker. She's purely there for chemistry purposes. Now I see that striker going forward. And I'm going to pretend to go upwards. I'm going to turn around last minute and then turn back again. You see that? And that's what gives me that space. I'm just trying to do it there. I'm going to pause the game now. And I'm going to take off the striker and put Davies on. So what I'm also doing as well, you see when I have the ball is, I'm just seeing what my opponent is doing. I'm not thinking about it too much literally when I'm inside the game, when I'm playing serious. But I'm trying to think out aloud. And you saw, for example, when I tricked one way and I tricked the other way, you see my opponent didn't really, it kind of committed the first angle, but it kind of fell for the second angle. So now I know in my brain that my opponent maybe is not too good with me being unpredictable. Because you saw the first easiest step is going for the L1 trigger. Are they marking it every single time? But if I, for example, go left, then I go right, and then I go back down again, my opponent doesn't really work on it very, very well. So we're going to just defend the situation here. The best of passes for myself there. I'm going to be careful. I don't want to commit too forward here. But again, going to L1 trigger. Now my opponent made a big mistake, so we're going to wait. Not going to panic. Then you can see that's Mendy. Now, although we've got no left back, it's worth it to get on the attack. Dabinia now, Mendy's my left back, so I'm just going to do a 1-2. Bring Mendy back into play again. Bad defending from my opponent, and that's I'm able to get forward. Now I've broken through the gap. I know a bit of trickery is going to confuse my opponent, so I'm just going to pretend to get the ball to the striker, then turn back like this, like that. Not the best of passes in the end for myself, But just something like that. So pretend to go upwards like this. Trickery. Go back out again. And luckily, I don't even know why that was a foul. I think it might be a bit too close to do this actually. Let's change. Hasn't got that much pace actually. We need someone who's got really a lot of... Okay, you know what actually? We can go... I had to try to get it. So I knew the player was going to move, but I was expecting the goalkeeper to save it. So I had to get it right in that gap. Like again, kickoff. Make sure you don't get done. Now you see I'm running back with my centre mid. If you're not too sure, remember, if you're not too sure, just foul the player. If you're really not too sure, if in doubt, take him out. So let's say you're worried about kickoffs. Like here, I'm not going to... I know the wing plays where my opponent wants to go. So now you can see I'm not over pressing. Especially when I'm at... See at the state here? When I'm over pressing there. If I miss that head, I got to run back. Again here. Not going to panic. Bit of trickery. Bit of rotation, take a touch. Again, pretend to pass the ball to Davies, then I'm going to turn around like that. See that? Bit of trickery. See my opponent fell for it again, and that is a disgraceful pass. I don't know. Sometimes the passing in this game is horrendous. But again, you can see here someone to run back here with Krieger, my CDM. And I can see this player's only got one striker, so I don't have to worry. I just have to worry about one striker. So again here, I'm not committing that player. You see like I'm now man marking this player. Now this is the benefit here. My opponent's got one striker, so it makes it so hard. This is like an example of my opponent playing like a 4. Remember like the 4-3-3 video that I made? Once you're up against a good player, I'm not saying that I am, but it's very hard to get through. You see, when I'm defending properly, you have one striker. You're really hoping for me to make a mistake. I'm just going to move the goalkeeper up. I'm waiting for the pass to go astray, but I'm worried this person's going to pass to number 11. So I'm just going to step away. I'm going to step up as soon as the pass is being made, like this. Then slide tackle, then win the ball back. L1 trigger. All about timing now. That was not ideal. I was coughing. I was trying to control the ball and I was going to flick the ball forward there. A wrong situation. That's what happens when you make videos all day. You lose your voice. Here I'm a bit in trouble. So it's going to do running jockey. Not going to panic. Almost my opponent did the exact same thing. Again, not going to panic. Now we know it's 44 minutes. So now... I don't mind committing some players forward here. Now, you see, if you lose the ball at 41 minutes, like here, like 40 minutes, you see my opponent's got the final attack here. And you see, for example, like here, when I've lost the ball now, the referee blows the whistle. So the key with that is you want to hold the ball as long as you can, and then you could trigger as many players forward as you want. So let's say there's 1 minute added on. So at 45 minutes and 30 seconds, I will start triggering a lot of players going forward. When I get to around about the final third, even if I have every single player up on the field, it doesn't matter. If I lose the ball, the referee will blow the whistle. I tried to show an example there, but actually I lost the ball there. So you can see here, halftime. Don't need to panic, really. I can have a look. I don't really focus too much on shooting. XG doesn't really mean anything in my eyes about how bad finishing is. But you can sometimes have a look at, for example, where your players are, where your players are defending, where your opponent's going down the wing. You can see from the passing perspective, I can see where my opponent's... So I can see my opponent is going mostly on the right-hand side. See that, the passing distribution? Barely going to number 10. So these are just a few things that you can look at halftime. Don't rush halftime, but you want to be on edge. Now, kickoff, we got it. Now you can see some sort of formation change. It looks like a... What the hell was that? I didn't press that button. That was a manual precision pass, but I did not do that, from my understanding. Yeah, I don't know, triggered by mistake probably. Now you can see a bit of pressure, not going to panic. Not the best passes there. Risky one. We're on precision shooting, by the way. So not the best of shots there. We tried to go for power across. So again here at the wing play, so we're still analysing the wing play. So like here, we got it's gone to a 4-4-2. You see that? So now we know that my player's going to commit. So you see I ran back with Lorente there. Even that's not needed. I'm just going to defend this here. 1 second. I'm going to stop the cutback. And you know what? Fair play, good goal. I don't even think my opponent... We'll watch that at the end. I don't even think my opponent really meant to do that. Bad play from myself there. Again, now we lost. We're now 1-0 down. We lost the goal. The key thing is don't panic. Dampen your opponent's spirits is kind of my tactic. So if your opponent is overly pressing or trying to get on a strong foot, I try to let the game zone out a little bit, just to psychologically dampen them. You know, it's a draw. It's fine. We're not losing. We can do this. We don't have to rush to go forward. You can see this bit of using a bit of deception. Not panicking, really. Waiting for the gap. Then once we find the gap, then we can go forward like this. That is another... Not the best of passes. Llorente's right foot. It's not the best passes really here. Be mine? Oh, no, it's not. Again, not panicking. Now you can see he's going to use a bit of run and jog here. Not gonna. No chance that's going in. I didn't mind him taking a shot there. It was Cancelo. It was only if it was maybe a precision green time shot, it would have mainly been much of a worry, but it wasn't. Again, we're just focusing on just defending the situation here. Got the goalkeeper like so. Now you got to be careful because that was my centre back. I did actually a stupid move there. It's more of a habit when I try to play casually when I'm not really thinking about what I'm doing. Again, we get the ball. Gonna lob the ball to this side. And again, I've not even changed formation. You see, I'm still on the same formation. I've just changed the way that I played a little bit. Now we know that pass is imminent, so we just held back a little bit there. You see, we didn't commit forward with that player. Now Rapinoe, it's all about timing. Bit of trickery. We're going to wait for that pass. Now we're going to do a bit of trickery again. Going to wait for the overlap just there. Not the best of passes for me again, to be honest. That one was actually my fault, though. That was not the game. That was genuinely my fault. That was a bad aiming of the through ball. Again, waiting for that player to come on side. Using Neymar as a distraction. Oh, tried it. Nearly got away with it there. So now I know my opponent panics under pressure. So now I'm just going to apply a bit more teammate contain. And look, you can see my opponent going for the wide play. See, like, so what I'm going to do is I'm preparing for the wide play. So here I'm being aggressive, but I know I'll be fine because I can get the ball there. That's more of a high level example, but it's like knowing when you can recover and when you can't. That is why, for example, you might see players, and that's why it's very hard to learn FC, because you'll see a high level player do something. For example, like this, they'll run out like this, and people think, oh, that's the right way to defend. People need to remember that is because the player that you're probably watching knows what they are doing. So again, here I'm just holding it out. I know the player's going for the wing. You see my opponent's doing the same thing again and again and again and again. We're just holding out. We got the counter attack. Now he's got to wait for that player. Now he's going to wait for him. A bit too far away, and he got the precision shot, which I know is not ideal. Takes some time. But Neymar hasn't got the best of powers. Now scared the goalkeeper's going to move there. You can see that my opponent is trying to just abuse the wing play. So if I was in a different formation, like here, I'm going to bring Smith here like this, just bring in and close the gap. Try to use player switching here, but player switching is a bit awful. So you can see that it's the same thing here, like just same thing here. And we switch the ball to the wrong player there, we might be in a bit of trouble. You can teammate contain, closing the gap out. We read that and we got screwed over. Make sure we don't make a mistake. Switch early. Not gonna panic. Yeah, not gonna panic. We see that player coming through. That is not what I wanted, and my opponent's gone a bit of a panic situation. That was a shot early on. In fact, I wanted to show you something as well. Sometimes the game's gonna screw you over. So like you can see, for example, here, like my opponent, look, he's just very diligently. You can tell this guy really needs this win. Like this guy really needs this win. But you can see, for example, just over here, right? I tried to close the gap, wasn't quick enough. But you see, like here, I just got a bit unlucky. Like, what? It is what it is. But you see, when that mistake happened, I didn't dwell. I chose Koundé straight away, and I made sure I defended the situation. That is why someone who's got like the jockey playstyle plus is very important, especially if you make mistakes, because it gives you that recovery time of, yeah, let's go and make a chance. Now, what we're going to do is going to play a bit more naturally now. We're going to go here and finish the game. I'm going to play a bit more naturally now. Of course, you can do a finesse shot. Here, we're just going to keep things simple, though. We're just going to go with a simple pass. Pass and move. So I'm not going to speak now. I'm just going to concentrate. Have a look around. Loads of players in the way there, to be honest. We didn't have that many options. And we've got to be careful because this player's gone for pace. So you see that? You see that? You see how we got burnt? So like now here I want to make a decision. I got to make a decision. I got to either go up or I got to go forward. I went for the tactical foul. I don't know what was going on, but I didn't want to take a risk of someone going in behind. So I realized there I made a mistake. I've committed that risk. 1 second here. Cancelo's not going to score anything. Oh my, but he might get the BS. Yeah, no, it shouldn't be much worry. That would have been a worry if that was like an R9. That would have been much of a worry, but it wasn't. Okay, now we're not going to panic. Let's just get this goal now. Let's end this game. We see the player 3 on our radar. We're going to do the bit that trick, the Nil Guys Classic since FIFA 19. If you know what it is, it's the shimmy. There you go. Enough for me to get inside the box. Get closer. Pretend. Inwards. Outwards. Remember I said to you, my opponent's not good. Commits too much. And can I get away with it there? But bad defending from my opponent. Again, not too sure. I'm just going to take the player out. This time we got a bit lucky. Got the ball. Now Smith do a 1-2. Now, in the same spirit, we did L1 triangle down. Now we can't probably win this header against. Oh, we actually got the ball. Now normally I would like if you want to finesse that from that angle, of course, be my guest. Now here, what we're gonna do is we haven't got a defensive formation per se in check, but what you can do is you can try to pause the game. But I don't want to pause the game yet because my opponent might go to like an ultra defensive, ultra attacking formation. I'm just gonna defend a striker here, defend a striker. Go win the ball back. And then here we're going to do, so this is what I meant. See, he's 91 plus 4. So watch, if I get the ball here, watch, I can commit as many players I want forward. If I lose the ball, it doesn't make a difference. Watch. I can commit, I can do whatever I want to do. I can just dribble past the entire team if I want to. It doesn't matter because if I lose the ball here, I don't know how we got that ball there. Anyway, if I lose the ball there, after this, it doesn't matter. The game's ended. Here we're going to go for the free kick. And this time I'm actually going to use her. And see if she can do it. Maybe it might be a bit too much at this place. Yeah, maybe just about enough. But that's just kind of a stance of how I play the game, kind of my thought process. I'm hoping to kind of just give you a bit of an idea of like how I look at things, how I analyze it. Maybe not the best of gameplays to show you gameplay wise, but it's more about understanding how I think, why I do certain actions, why did I run back, why did I now push the centre mid to the wing position because I knew my opponent was using wing play. These are all things that you have to look at, especially if you want to play the advanced level. Understand how your opponent plays and then find a weakness.